Welcome to the Let's Talk Basic podcast, where girls talk about everything basic.
Join us as we sit down with a glass of wine and see where the conversation goes.
Kick back,
relax,
and get ready for the ultimate girls' night in.
I'm your host, Joanne.
And I'm Vanessa.
Welcome back to this week's Let's Talk Basic podcast.
With a little twist. Cheers!
So, we have a special guest today, and if you saw our Instagram story, you would know we're doing an Ask Me Anything Basic Bro edition.
Woo! Wow. All your questions answered.
So we have a special guest today. Welcome, Basic Bro.
So I'm Basic Bro. What's up? Happy to join.
Thanks for coming on. So tell us something about yourself.
Something about myself. Well, I am a young Asian professional in my early 30s. I feel like this is like a dating profile.
Yeah,
basically.
That's exactly what it is. That's why I also you on here.
Live downtown, kind of on the east end of downtown, so a little less basic. Moved from the west side.
He's matured.
So today we're going to talk about some dating questions. I think you have some experience, Basic Bro. And I think we're going to kind of get into the male perspective on these dating things.
Yes, we have lots of questions. Our listeners have sent in a few as well. And we really want to know, some of the stuff from a male's perspective. So we're going to start by talking about first dates. When you go on a first date, Joanne and Basic Bro, do we expect the girl to pay? Do you expect the guy to pay? How does that work?
I think I always do the wallet reach.
The classic wallet reach?
Yeah, like you're gonna...
Oh, no, let me.
Exactly. You try to lean in and be like, oh no. You don't even...
What do you mean, oh no?
Let me.
Oh, yeah, let me. But actually, I don't think I even say it. I just kind of reach for my wallet. So I've made the effort and I kind of just wait.
I think the reach is very important.
Yeah.
First date, the reach is important. Just a slow, at least a little hint of movement.
Like an effort.
All right.
Yeah.
Effort is important.
The look away is terrible.
What's the look away? You're just the bill comes and the girl just looks away.
And I have
Looks
to go
up to the sky, starts sealing the ceiling decor.
So what would you, as a guy, what would you do in that situation if a girl does a look away?
Well,
you still pay.
You can't play chicken with them.
You're going to.
And just everyone keeps looking away. You don't want to be that guy too.
Yeah.
So
you would pay then if...
you generally pay. I guess these days people try to split 50-50 sometimes. A lot of
Have
girls.
you ever done 50-50?
On a first date?
On a first date, I don't think so.
I feel like if I split 50-50 on a first date, it means that we're not going anywhere.
Yeah. I think I do have a rule on the first date. I have actually offered to pay before and the guy actually let me. Never saw him again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that would be my rule. If I paid, totally fine because I'm capable, I can do that. But if you let me pay, I will never see you again. And not even... forget seeing you, I'll probably never message you back.
Yeah.
Well, I've never had that situation where people are aggressively trying to pay. What if someone was aggressively trying to pay and then it becomes a serious one of those Chinese family arguments? Yeah. It's a little bit awkward.
Okay, as a guy, I feel like it's very different from a girl. If a guy aggressively tries to pay for my bill,
I would be like, yeah.
No,
sure.
but what if they're hey, I'm like a the new generation of independent female.
Yeah, that's weird.
No, I would not.
I can take care of my own.
And you can take... Oh, the girl is saying that to you.
Yeah, the girl is saying that.
Well, yeah, what would you do?
I don't know. I've never been in that situation, but
But
hypothetically,
hypothetically, what would you do?
I feel like you kind of have to let them if they're aggressive about it.
Okay, would you like that?
I mean, it'll be interesting. That could lead to a different conversation.
Yeah.
Because then it's kind of hey, that's
I
different.
feel like if you arrived at that conclusion, at the end of the date, you would have known, throughout the date, what kind of person this, girl is, right? It's oh, I'm independent, I do this, I'm a feminist, this is the stuff that I do.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like that wouldn't be the first sign of
Yeah.
her independence. She probably would have been I buy my own things, I'm a businesswoman,
Yeah.
I'm a girl boss.
Yeah, I feel like it has to, be a build-up.
I've never encountered this type of girl, by the way. Just
Me neither. I'm not that type of girl at all.
Hypothetically speaking.
Okay, so after the date and now you've paid, what now? So if the date goes well, do you continue? And then if the date goes, like, how does that work? Like, I feel like after, the dinner portion of the first activity, people sometimes move on to the second, depending on how well it goes. Like, what's your experience
I
like?
think you just let the night lead. You let the night lead. If, you go for dinner, by the time you're finished, maybe it's 9 o'clock or something, then you see what's happening. If they want to go for drinks, if they want to go for a walk and things are going well, then you carry on. You don't have to set a hard cut or hard deadline.
So I'm curious from a guy's perspective, like, sure, if it's going well, you continue the date. But do guys have, like, plan A, B, C's to be like, okay, if it goes well, I'm going to need somewhere. So you plan it all out.
For sure.
So, like...
What? Like, what do you plan out?
So you kind of know where your other friends are at in case...
Oh my
in
God.
case things don't work out.
Oh my God.
You kind of know where everyone's at, what other plans are on the table. So that, say it's a Saturday.
Yeah.
You don't want to waste a prime Saturday. So if it's going to end around 8, 9 o'clock, you still want to do something afterwards. So you got to have some backup plans.
Okay, but what if it's going well? Do you have backup plans of where you could take her after?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, tell me what your standard first date looks like.
Ooh,
standard.
yeah.
Because I know, like, I've talked to guys before, and they definitely have, like, 2 or 3 places that they take first dates to.
Standard, well, usually you start by talking to them ahead of time, right? So you kind of get a feel of what they like, what they don't like. So depending on what type of girl it is, you might go for a drink first. If it's good, then, let's grab a bite. Afterwards, grab another drink. Or if it's like, more of a chill girl, they want to meet during the day, you might just like go somewhere for a coffee and go for a walk. I think those are the best dates. The ones where you go for a walk, sit on a park bench, and you're able to just talk.
So what kind of girl needs, like, to warrant that type of date? Where you're like, okay, she checks off the boxes that, like, I can take her to the good kind of date, which is to walk down the park date.
The free one over there.
Yeah.
The free one by the harbor front.
This is not adding up for the girl that's really checking all the boxes.
She's like, oh my God, this guy is sucking right now. This date is so boring.
Yeah. I want to be taken out. I want to be wine and dine.
Why are you taking me to...
To be honest, like when you're dating, you also have to kind of see what your mood is too. It's not always just about the other person. You got to be on your best self, all right? You got to give your best version of yourself. So, if you're not feeling like a sit-down dinner or drinks and you want to do something active, then you suggest something active and kind of see what happens.
I think the best kind of dates are definitely ones where you're doing something.
Yeah.
Whether you're like going bowling or mini golf or something like that. Like, you don't have to be good at the activity, but I feel like that really kind of breaks the ice a little bit. So you're not like just sitting, in front of this person for X amount of minutes or an hour or so talking about yourself. Like, it feels kind of like a interview.
Definitely feels like an interview. And if you go on a couple first dates, they all start feeling the same, but with a different person. You have the same set of questions.
Oh, whoa. What are your 7 questions?
Oh, yeah.
We want to know.
Everyone just kind of has the same set of questions. They'll be
what
like,
are these questions?
oh, what do you like to do? Very
like,
broad.
what do you say to that? Oh,
Wait, shouldn't you have figured that out before the date, though?
It depends. Like, sometimes people are nervous on the first date, too. So they kind of have their, standard questions that when there's a little bit of silence, they just, like, spit out.
Right.
Spit out a question. Oh, so what do you like to do? What are your favorite restaurants? Where do you want to travel to? Like, those basic questions. Mm-hmm. I'm in my 30s now, so I ask deeper questions.
Like what? On the first date?
I get right to it. I don't have a lot of time these days. I'm trying to lock down a wifey.
Okay, so what are these serious questions?
Yeah.
Hey, I already start asking, what happened with your last relationship? Why didn't it work out? What did you like? What didn't you like? Like, I kind of want to get a sense of what they're looking for.
I think those are solid questions.
Yeah, I would be okay with those kind of questions.
Yeah.
So how are you meeting these girls?
How am I meeting these girls? Well, technology has come a long way.
This is so great because Vanessa and I are like so out of the dating world. It's like, what do people use these days?
I have a funny story. So I have 2 interns, and on their spare time, I like to torture them. And I'm like, give me your app, your dating app.
Yeah.
And it's, Bumble. And I'm so old that I'm like, apparently swiping left is like a no or a yes.
Swiping right is like good.
is it good, right? And then and then,
we're not even using the right
so
terms,
then-
probably.
And then so I swept all of them like good when I was actually a no.
Which is great. That's fine.
And then I was like, oh my gosh, now I have all these terrible guys messaging me. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. But I thought it was so much fun. But one of the questions that they had was actually, how long do you usually talk to someone on those apps before you're like, let's meet up? And what is like a non-creepy way to ask someone to go out on those apps? Because I feel like they have like a little bit of a negative, like, or a slimy thing attached to.
A slimy thing?
Wow, you are so out there.
I'm so out.
This is not what people are saying anymore. This is completely normal.
Okay, so like
It's completely normal. So there's
Not creepy.
a couple dating apps. I feel like each type of dating app has a different level to them.
So do you have all three of these dating apps?
So I have them, but I don't use them
Which
that
one do
I
you
feel
frequently.
like there's more than 3.
Yeah.
Which one do you like the most? Or which one have you found the most success with?
I think that the new one that people are on is Hinge, right? To be honest, I signed up for Hinge, but you have to kind of answer questions about yourself to show your personality. Kind of,
Right.
your last meal before you die, or like the 3 things you can't live without, 2 truths and a lie, so that way people can kind of engage with you before even talking to you.
Right.
But before you can actually start swiping or liking people, you have to actually finish that profile. But I've been so lazy to try to answer questions about myself that I haven't been able to.
But you just said that it was your favorite app.
Yeah.
No, I said that's the most common one. So you don't actually have to fill in your profile to use it. People can still like you.
Oh, but you can't.
But you can't select people to like. So
Okay.
I'm kind of just.
Okay. So you're technically not matching with anyone, but
I
they're
mean,
like,
yeah, you can just sit back and have people come to you, which is.
So lazy.
I mean, it's all right.
Okay, so you're meeting these girls on Hinge or like whatever kind of app there is now. How does it get to that? Like, what's the filtering process before you're like, okay, let's go on a date?
I think there's a fine line between being too quick, because if you're too quick, people think you're just trying to go for a hookup. It's just kind of like, I don't even know you yet.
Right.
But if you take too long, from what I heard from friends and their experiences, girls just kind of be like, I'm not here on this app for a pen pal.
Right.
I'm trying to meet somebody. Like, hurry up and ask me
Right.
to meet. There's only so much you can talk about with a stranger.
Right.
Before they're just asking you, how's your day every day, back and forth. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know you yet. So I think after a week is probably a good time.
Okay.
Probably after a week, I don't know. Like, this is from my experience, maybe after a week's
And
a
it's
good
like
time.
a coffee after a week, or?
No, it's the walk in the park,
Oh, the walk in the
right?
park. Okay.
Yeah, it's either like something just chill, like, hey, let's grab a coffee, maybe go for a walk, or let's go for dinner or drinks.
So do you consider that a first date at that point?
What would it be considered as?
I don't know, like
Really?
it's like a meetup.
I guess that's a first date if it's on a dating
like
app.
if it's not like an official date,
I think that's an official date.
that's considered an
that
official
would be
date.
considered a first.
I don't remember what a first date is. I feel like, don't people have to ask you like, hey, let's go on a date?
I don't know. People don't even have to ask to be, official boyfriend or girlfriend now. It kind of just happens. The lines just kind of blur.
Okay, let's talk about that, because like that has always confused me. I've learned this term.
Oh gosh,
that,
what is it?
That I feel like is out of date already. But it was like what the kids used to be saying, like DTR, to like define the relationship.
Oh gosh.
I've never heard that. That sounds terrible.
I feel like it might have been like a Christian circle thing.
That
with,
sounds like a Christian.
Yeah.
There's another person who like kind of recently asked me the difference between talking to someone, seeing someone, and actually being in a relationship.
Right. So
And
there's
she was
definitely
actually,
a line.
Yeah, so she was actually confused
yeah.
that there were so many different stages, and she's like, when do they tell you what these stages? I'm like, well, I guess you just kind of feel it out. Like, no one's like, hey, we're just talking to each other, now we're seeing each other, now we're officially dating. Like, those 3 phases can be kind of blended.
I think with like my own relationship, people were already calling us like boyfriend, girlfriend, and we were like, okay, are we going to stop them? So we kind of had to have that conversation. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, do you need a conversation? Is it just kind of organic completely?
I feel like all of a sudden one day they're just like, so we're together, right?
So there's still a conversation. There's still a question then to make sure.
Or like, you're my boyfriend, right? We're official, right? I feel like that conversation still kind of happens, but it's not like a, will you be my girlfriend
right.
type of maybe like romanticizing the past.
Like,
I remember the first time I asked a girl or asked the girl to be my girlfriend, I planned out like a whole surprise and everything, gave them a gift. It was crazy. It was back in high school.
Ooh, I want to hear this story. Start from the beginning.
I don't remember the details too clearly.
So this was in high school.
This was in high school. The movie Finding Nemo was popular at the time.
I love
And, Finding Nemo.
You know, I was single trying to look for a girlfriend, and, you know, people always said there's so many fish in the sea. Right? So I was always trying.
Vanessa and I are just giving each other like love eyes right now.
So with the girlfriend at the time, it was kind of like, oh, I'm trying to find Nemo, that one fish in the sea. So I gave her like a big plush Nemo at the time, and I was like, oh,
high five,
you're my Nemo. So that was kind of like how I asked. It was like, will you be my girlfriend or whatever at the time? And it was, I think she liked it.
So sweet.
But that doesn't happen anymore. You just see them all the time, and then they're like, yeah, we're together. Deal with it.
I remember like my first boyfriend, like he decorated my locker with "Will you be my girlfriend?" and it was like spelt out with images of us, and it was like a rose in there somewhere. It was like a big thing to ask people out to be your girlfriend.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember. Like, I actually don't remember anyone asking me to be their girlfriend.
Leaving gifts in people's lockers was a huge thing.
Yeah,
back
but
in
like
the
that.
day.
Yeah, I've had that too. But we were already together.
Getting the combination lock from code from the friends.
Yeah.
Leaving a little surprise.
But like you knew that it was gonna be in your locker.
I mean, like, do you remember promposals?
Yes.
Like those were a huge
promposals,
thing.
I think, are a little bit before my time.
Really?
I mean, you know, you have something when you ask them, but it's not as elaborate as it is now. People do like flash dances and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you're going to put so much effort into asking somebody to your prom, I feel like to ask somebody to be your girlfriend is even more of a...
I'm sorry, but the first time is usually the best time. Romance starts dying after when you're in your 30s. I'm sorry. Lessons from my 20s.
Yeah.
No,
Dating then versus now.
I honestly, I don't remember either.
Look.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even matter. Look, Vanessa doesn't even remember.
Yeah,
It doesn't make that big of an impression anyways.
Well, okay, Vanessa,
Girls will
with
forget.
like you and your partner.
Girls will forget.
With you and your partner, Vanessa, like, do you remember how you guys became official? Like, was there a conversation or...
No, we just went on a trip. Like nowadays, I think the simplest thing is that, shoot, you put a photo on Instagram and that was pretty much official. Like, you post a photo on Instagram and then you're instantly like Instagram official. Then everyone kind of like assumes that you
post
guys
a photo
are...
way after you're official.
Yeah, I feel like it's
I
very
don't know.
selective. at
Okay,
this
I'm
point.
really bad at dating. Apparently, I don't know.
Like, you gotta let that relationship build a little, you know, on the DL before you put it out on Instagram. You don't want to be that person posting photos and deleting it a month later.
You can archive it now.
But your friends will see. They'll be like, "Oh, hey, how's
not together
how's
anymore."
Brian?" And you're like, "Oh, Brian, I deleted his." you guys
I
just
know, and
posted.
everybody's like, "Oh, she deleted it," and
Yeah.
it becomes such a big thing.
And then like a week later, it's like, you know, another guy. Oh, Eric. Who's Eric? No, you can't just be posting and deleting.
True.
You got to reach kind of maybe a couple months.
I
in.
honestly don't know when we became official. Like, I'm sure there was definitely a conversation. I'm not really sure how it went. I'm pretty sure how it went was we were watching Gilmore Girls. And Rory was talking to Dean about something. And then I'm pretty sure Dean asked Rory to be his girlfriend. And so I paused the remote and I was like, so, like, what's going on with us? And he was like, what the bitch? We're watching Gilmore Girls. Why did it all of a sudden become so intense?
I feel like the fact that you were watching Gilmore Girls with him is already like pretty solidifying the
That's pretty
relationship.
I would never want someone to just pause a show and all of a sudden stare me down and ask me a deep question.
That can be pretty scary.
I thought this was going to be Netflix and chill.
Yeah.
Like, this is not the chill part.
Yeah, I think that's when it became official. It was like, well, yeah, you spend every day here. And then I was like, okay, just wanted to make sure, and I pressed play.
Yeah. My last
was,
girlfriend
yeah.
we always joked about how we became official. I was like, how did this even happen? And she's like, I just came over that first time and never left.
Yep.
I was like, yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
And then people were like, how did you move into your house? Came in one day with a couple boxes and a couple bags and also never left.
Always starts with a hair tie.
Yeah.
Little toothbrush here.
One hair tie becomes 10 boxes in no time.
Oh my gosh, that's so true.
Okay, do you want to check if there's any other questions from our listeners?
Sure.
Oh, so I had one. Somebody asked, can you break down the different stages? And we're kind of talking about this, but what are the stages of dating nowadays?
Stages of dating. Well, you're asking me.
Yeah, because we don't know. Like, what are their terms now? And
It's one of those things where I don't think anyone has it figured out. Because with online dating right now, it's kind of like online shopping. So you go on dates, it's kind of like, add to cart, add to cart, add to cart.
Oh my gosh.
Like
you don't check out any.
You can only check out one. So there's so many options. I think it's harder for people to kind of settle down, for both guys and girls.
Right.
Right? Because there's always just so many options at your disposal. And every day, if you actually do check the apps, you get new matches and new options. And it's just kind of like hard to settle down almost.
So, okay, when you're doing the add to cart, we'll call it, what is the term you would say you are with those girls? Are you checking? Are you dealing? Are you seeing? Are you talking? Like,
there's no term. They're just going on dates until, you start seeing somebody kind of frequently and they're kind of the only one you're seeing. Then you're seeing, talking, I guess. And then it becomes like official once someone kind of makes it official.
Is there a difference between seeing, talking, dealing?
I think they're relatively
checking,
the same.
They're all the same.
I mean, once you're seeing somebody, I don't think you're seeing multiple people. At least not in my world.
Right.
Because if you say, hey, I'm seeing this girl right now, it doesn't mean you're seeing this girl along with 3 other girls.
Right.
It's not The Bachelor.
I'm confused. My world revolves around The Bachelor. So
what about, I guess my question is, when you start putting the things in your shopping cart.
This is such a terrible way to
How
describe
many,
it.
I feel like this is just a new term, like adding to cart.
Yeah, add to cart, or like you favorite some of them. How many, like, do you usually, see at one time, or you're talking to at one time, usually?
For me, my personal experience is that I like to just keep it one at a time. Because I don't like to, just have too much going on. It's just hard to handle, right? But I know a lot of people, they're seeing or talking, dating multiple people at once and just seeing how it goes. I don't have that kind of spare money, since everyone's just doing the reach. 50 first dates cost a lot of money, right?
Yeah. Not if you're doing the walk in the park.
That's true. So it starts off high with the dinners and then everyone else gets walks in the park.
Okay, so what are your kind of go-to restaurants? Can you tell us that?
Go-to
restaurants? So we can come find you. Kidding.
I mean...
in the Toronto area, yeah.
This is super basic, but Asian restaurants, you get your best bang for your buck.
Okay, which one?
Okay, wait. You're taking a girl to an Asian restaurant on your first date?
Which one?
Okay, between you're walking in the park and...
You sound like a terrible date.
Hey,
This is why you're only seeing one girl at a time, basic bro.
Listen, you don't want the food to overshadow you.
Oh, God.
If you can stand out at Kanji Queen, you're a winner.
Take them to Kanji Queen?
I said if you can stand out at Kanji Queen. I'm an Asian legend type of person.
Okay, what are the top 3s? Okay, so the first one is Asian legend.
Okay, to be honest, there's no top 3. For me, when I go on a date, it's also kind of I want to try new restaurants too. I'm not trying to go to the same places. I'm like, if I'm going to go out and pay for these girls, I'm going to try something new too.
Okay.
Listen, we got to be economical. You You're going to want a husband one day that knows how to save money. You got to save up for a nice wedding. You want that ring? You're going to conjure queen. You want that house? The down payments aren't cheap. You're going to conjure queen.
No.
I'm kidding. Not conjure queen. We'll do Japanese, okay?
For you men out there, I mean, this guy is coming from years of experience. So...
Anyways, I felt like I said too much already.
Is today's society over old-fashioned cliches and gender roles? Okay, that's a really interesting question. Is today's society over old gender roles? So I guess like the guy opening the car door or opening the door for the woman, or I guess we kind of talked about paying for dinner.
So the question is if we're over it, or is society over it?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I mean, it's modern relationships now. Like, females are strong, independent as ever. So...
Just making faces here. I would say that we are not over it.
Elaborate.
I think I mentioned, I think I'd still like the guy to take the lead, especially in the beginning of a relationship. So I'd like them to pay. That's just my preference. Holding the door is definitely showing manners and stuff like that. Like picking a girl up, I think is still very, very important. And I just like to be treated nicely still. So I don't think it's dead, and I wouldn't tell my sister differently.
I feel like it's dead for a lot of guys. No, hear me out. I feel like it's kind of dead for a lot of guys where guys don't do a lot of these old-fashioned things. But the girls definitely...
I'm so sorry, everyone out there.
But wait, what do you mean? When you're saying these old-fashioned things, what kind of things are you thinking about?
Simple things like, opening a door for somebody.
You're not going to open a door for somebody?
Pulling a chair out for somebody.
I don't need you to pull it. The holding the door, though.
No, yeah. So I feel like even these basic things, girls notice it now. When I hold a door for them, they're like, wow, what a gentleman, Right. And I feel like...
I don't think I say that. I think I just expect it.
No, but seriously, I think girls out there, because there's so many guys they're meeting, right? Because with online dating and stuff, it's so easy now.
Okay.
And there's a lot of people that kind of just don't do these simple things. So when I do the most basic thing, people kind of be like, oh, wow, you're such a gentleman. I was like, what did I do?
Right.
So that's what I'm kind of noticing when I meet people.
Because other people are not doing it
Because other people aren't
anymore.
doing it. But, even something like, opening a car door for somebody, I feel like maybe girls don't get that as much anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know.
One of the sweetest things that a guy has ever done for me, and you guys might find this disgusting, but we're walking down the street and I'm walking close to the road, and the guy is on the inside of the street, and he switches positions. He didn't say anything, but it was just kind of come on this side as a protective move. Yeah. And I thought that was so chivalrous.
No, absolutely.
For sure.
I also notice things like that, especially when it's rainy or the cars are coming our way and it it might splash on you, stuff like that. So I definitely think that those things are still really, really important for all the guys who are single and trying to be official or get official with a girl. Those are really, really important points that I think can't be missed if you're serious about someone.
I agree. So a lot of guys don't do this stuff. Guys, if any guys are listening to this basic ass podcast, do the simple things.
You'd be surprised, I think.
I think there are some secret,
secret
male listeners.
Do the simple things. Girls notice. They appreciate it. It's actually more rare than you think. All these simple gestures. So,
what do you think is the one thing that you're oh, when I'm going to treat this girl well, this is what I'm going to do?
I show up. That's the gift.
Here I am.
I hope.
Just kidding. That was a joke. What's a treat for a girl?
No, it's just when you really want to make her feel special. What do you think you'll do? Or even as a piece of advice to other people, give some ideas.
It's just paying attention to them. Paying attention to all the little things they talk about, and then bringing that out later on. Do a simple gesture that shows that you listened. Because I feel like a lot of people don't really listen today. So it's just as simple as something I've always wanted to do this, and then later on you surprise them by hey, I planned a day for us to do this, and they're like, what? I just mentioned that in passing. How'd you remember? That's crazy. We're going to look at alpacas today. Boom,
Those things are
done.
important, yeah.
It's like when apparently I said I wanted a KitchenAid stand mixer and my husband got it for my birthday and I'm like, what?
Yeah, so girls, be careful what you say because guys are trying to pay attention and surprise you. And don't ask for a KitchenAid mixer if you don't really want one.
For me, something that's really sweet is like you said, like paying attention to what the girl has said. I really like horseback riding. My boyfriend also like really makes an effort every time we travel somewhere or go on vacation. He always looks it up. He's like, oh, we can do this and horseback riding here. And I'm like, I really appreciate that he goes the extra mile to look for activities that I like to do, even when we're out of the country trying to experience something new.
Yeah.
So I think those are definitely extra points.
Yeah.
So.
I think for me, it's anytime they put extra effort.
Yeah.
Like, as long as you've done a lot of work into planning this, I'm like, that's great.
Or just like a little, at least made an effort to try. I think that's important.
Like, if you've planned out a date with an itinerary and there were stops and there were reservations made, like, that's a lot
Reservations made.
Reservations is like 5 points right there.
Wow, we put it on the website.
Yeah.
There's a low bar for us guys out there. As long as you try, you see some effort. It doesn't have to succeed.
Yeah, it totally doesn't have to
Just
succeed.
try. Go to opentable.com. Find that reservation.
Okay, I have another question for you. What is an immediate turnoff for you? If a girl does this, says this, wears this, like any of that, what are some immediate turnoffs?
Immediate turnoffs. I think how they treat people, from like the waiters or like, service people or anything. I think if they're rude to them, that's kind of a immediate turnoff. It's kind of like, what's your problem?
Right.
It's like, chill.
Yeah.
If they're able to be rude to other people, it just kind of shows that they're putting their best foot forward with you.
Right.
And they're not actually kind of a genuine, respectful type of person. I think that's kind of, for me, kind of an immediate turnoff. I think people that actually treat like, janitors and like whatever, people like really nicely, that's an immediate turn on. Even someone that like treats a homeless person in passing well, it's just kind of like, oh wow. Or like, oh, there's something behind this person is kind of endearing.
Do you have immediate turnoffs for you, Vanessa?
Someone who's arrogant and cocky.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like I can't talk to people like that. And they have to come off of like very natural and just themselves and not trying to be someone else. I think that's really important. But yes.
Okay, here's another good question, I think. Does the 3-day texting rule still apply after a first date?
I don't know what that rule is. What is that rule? Please explain to this basic bro.
Like
There's
when
a 3-day texting
like
rule?
after a date, you like wait a few days to message them.
Oh,
and this is
absolutely not.
this is very like old school, right? Like where I think it was like a calling when you would still call the girl or guy after the date.
I don't
Pretty
think that exists.
sure if you wait 3 days after the date to text them, you're not getting a reply.
Yeah. So like what is the
Do you
good
text
amount?
them immediately after a date then?
Yeah.
Like what's the new norm?
So I don't know the norm, but
Yeah.
after the date, you if you had a good time, you want to show them that you had a good time. Be like, hey, I had a good time tonight. Hope you got home safe. One of those type of messages. And I don't think you wait 3 days, especially if you're interested in them.
So like after the date, you just immediately start talking. Like they go home and you're just like, hey, like what's up now?
I mean, if you are interested in them and if you like them, why would you wait 3 days?
Yeah, I think the checking up on them after the first date is very, very appropriate. If
What
someone
about-
didn't do that, I'd be like,
I'll ask you. So you had a really good date with someone. It went super well and everything. You're really going to sit there for 3 days?
Here's the thing where I think it's different for girls and guys. I think the 3-day texting rule was more for girls to be like, you have to wait for the guy to message you.
Disagree.
So if a girl messaged you immediately after,
yeah, to thank you for your date. Thanks so much for paying. I really appreciate it. Loved our
Hey,
walk down the water.
Basic guys have feelings too. We want feedback. We want to know if the date went well. If we don't hear from them for 3 days, we assume the date did not go well.
Yeah.
And we prepare ourselves. It's going to be an emotional roller coaster. It's going to be like, oh shit, what did I do? Like, why isn't she texting me? Now a day passes. You're like, oh, she's still not messaging me. She's probably not into me.
Yeah, I feel like
I'm going to get over it right now.
Yeah.
And then like 3 days later, she messages like, why are you messaging me now?
yeah.
Yeah.
I just went through like the ups and downs of
No,
life.
I hate the waiting
I've
game.
gone through the grief cycle already.
Yeah.
I'm in acceptance now.
Yeah, I'm over this already. I've already added more to the cart.
I definitely like no.
I've already
for-
taken the next girl to Kanji Queen.
No, for sure. I think as a courtesy, even after a date, I would definitely text back.
Yeah.
Like I also think of it like a first date as like going out with a friend, right? So if you and I, went to see the movies, I would text you and be like, hey, like, like hope you got home safe. I think it's more of a courtesy thing,
Right?
And just showing appreciation and appreciating that this person spent time with you, and
Right.
and then whatever goes on next is, like I think I would wait a little bit for maybe the guy to be like, hey, do you want to go on another date to see? Like, I would wait for that. But I
Okay, so
wouldn't
maybe
wait.
the new rule is like, because
No rules.
yeah, whatever. But maybe the new thing is, when is it appropriate to initiate the next date? If you went out and you had a great date, would you initiate a next date immediately after that date?
I mean, you'll gradually get into it. You won't talk about your next date right away.
Right.
You'll-
Okay, so if a girl did that to you, though, would you be like, yeah, or would you be a bit like,
It all
oh, this
depends.
is a bit
If-
quick?
If you're interested in them, right?
Right.
If you feel a connection with them, why wouldn't you want to see them
Yeah.
as soon as possible? The best time usually is your honeymoon phase, right?
Yeah.
Where your emotions are at, the most high. So why wouldn't
I
you?
feel like I'm so different where like I want to drag that honeymoon phase
would
as
not.
much as possible.
You can't drag it on. The more you
Yeah.
drag it on, it just kind of loses momentum.
I think it's the perfect time, maybe like within the 3 days after your first date, to ask for the next date, right? Especially if you guys had a great conversation and then you got to learn a little bit more about this person on your walk. You'd be like, hey, I actually really love to learn how to golf. Hey, you know what? On our next date, we're going to the driving range, right? Hey, it's a really great day on this day. Want to go to a driving range? Like, I think like you pick up on little cues on your first date or your first conversation, and then you kind of go from there. It should come naturally,
I
though.
feel like if it's reciprocated, if the feelings are reciprocated,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
But
there's
that's
no
the
rules
thing,
to
right?
it.
Like if a girl you weren't that interested in was like, hey, like let's go mini golfing like tomorrow,
Then
would you be
then
like,
anything? Then anything could turn you off, right? If you're not that interested
Yeah.
in them, it could. You don't even want to see them again. You're kind of just killing time until the next add to cart comes,
Yeah.
right? So if you actually have a connection with them, you would probably want to see them. If you don't want to see them, you kind of know how you feel about that person.
And so, okay, I guess my next question is, so after you go on these dates and you're like, ooh, I'm really not feeling this person. I've given it a second chance now. We've gone to this driving range and you're like, crap, she's asking me out again. How do you nicely let someone down or tell someone, hey, I'm going to keep adding to my cart?
I don't know why V is staring at me while saying all that.
Yes, we're both in
long-term
relationships.
relationships.
I haven't added anything to the cart.
I feel like that's one of the toughest things to do in this day and age. Like, how do you phase out one of these
Oh, the phase out.
girls that you're, not dating, not seeing or talking, not in a relationship? You just maybe went on like a date or two. How do you phase them out? I think you all know like ghosting is popular, right? Like someone all of a sudden like messages and you don't hear from them ever again.
Oh my God.
And then you're just like, oh, okay, I got ghosted. Or sometimes, you're the one doing the ghosting. But I
Do you have to
feel,
block the person or no?
I mean, like, I don't have that much experience on the day. I've never had like a psycho crazy person where you have to block them, or it's really tough actually, because, no one really wants to ghost somebody. I don't feel like that's like your desired outcome, to ghost somebody.
I think ghosting is just like I feel like people do it because they don't know what else to do.
Yeah, because right now with dating, people can be talking to so many people at once. You don't want to be like this person pouring your heart out, trying to be, understanding, but hey, you know what? I like you, but I'm not really thinking there's going to be a future.
Do you have to have those
no,
conversations?
like you don't want to say all
Oh.
of that, and then they're just like, chill, it's not that serious. I'm seeing like 5 other guys. My cart is
Right.
full.
Oh, got it. Okay.
You don't want to
Too
be
many items.
Yeah, you don't want to be that person. I'm going to be a respectable gentleman and just be like, hey, I kind of like you. We had a good time, but like we're not really vibing. And then
I wonder what people prefer. So if if you were dating someone...
Put that poll up on...
Yeah, we will put that poll.
Yeah.
So if you were dating someone and they weren't feeling you, would you prefer the girl to just ghost you? Or would you prefer like, hey, basic bro, I really had a good time. However, I like item number A better. I think I like that sale. I'm going to go for it. But like, good luck. Would you want the girl to be upfront with you?
I think it depends. There's different levels. Maybe you're feeling like you want to ghost her too.
Yeah.
Then yeah, it ghost me. It's fine. Like I'm happy. Like someone did it.
Right.
So at what time would you want to be like verbalized?
Because sometimes, once someone verbalizes, then it opens up a new door. It's kind of like, oh, they're being vulnerable a little bit and they're trying to be respectful, but then now you have to respond in kind.
Right.
You might not want to respond in kind. You might just be like, hey, I'm seeing mad people. That's a funny thing. Sometimes you come up with that explanation and then they'll just read it.
Right, but at what point would you come up with that explanation? Where you're like, I feel like we're at a point where I need to give you an explanation.
If you're kind of seeing somebody for an extended period of time, right? And it's deeper than just kind of going on like a couple dates. Like you guys are seeing each other. Maybe you want to, give them a little heads up why this isn't working. But if you're just like going on a couple dates.
That's true.
And it's just like you go for a drink here and there, you can just ghost. You're not established on a deeper level. It's kind of like the wild, wild west out there in this dating game. And to be honest, I'm not like fully experienced like in this field. It's kind of all new to me too. Friends are kind of just always pushing you to kind of go on because they're like, hey, it's common now. My friend just met this person, they got married. For me, naturally, I kind of just want to meet somebody, see each other across the room, smile at each other, and then, the rest is history.
Those are fake.
Yeah.
Relationships don't happen organically anymore. You don't meet at the gym and you're like, hey, let me help you.
Because when you're in your 30s, what you're really doing is going to visit your friends' babies and tagging along as, the seventh wheel.
Hey, but like you can still be attending weddings and maybe there's someone single.
A lot of single people out there, now you're facing people that are divorced, people that have kids.
Yeah.
And that's the new kind of level for someone in their 30s, right?
The next phase in life for us?
The next dating landscape.
Wow.
If you're still single.
Blended families.
Okay. Wow. Well, that's next time's topic.
There's a lot of speechless podcast hosts in this room right now.
Well, all right. I think that's all the time we have for this episode. Mm-hmm. So thanks, Basic Bro, for joining us.
I hope you enjoyed your first time.
No problem. And if anyone figures out my identity, Kanji Queen is not the go-to choice. No, you're going to Aloe.
Cheers.
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 Thanks for listening to the Let's Talk Basic podcast. For more exclusive content, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Let's Talk Basic.